All right. Good morning, everyone. How we doing? Happy Wednesday, November 5th. NQ yesterday, shortly after the stream, we started to see a bit of a sell-off. NQ came down, filled that unfilled gap from a couple of weeks ago. You can see the gap right there on the chart. We had talked about it during yesterday's stream. And that was from a Friday into Sunday. So Friday, October 24th, we close at all-time highs, and then Sunday evening futures, there's a gap higher. That gap has officially been filled. There is actually, if you switch over to the regular trading hours chart while we're talking about gaps, there is one more gap down beneath there that I'll keep an eye on if the 25,400 level fails to hold as support. There's one area we can focus on down into 250. So 400 fails, look for that gap fill down into the 250 area. This is on the regular trading hours 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, but regardless of time frame, you're going to see that gap there, and that's from October 23rd into October 24th. So you're going to see the sequence here: gap, 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 gap. 4 gaps in a row. Pretty uncommon. Not all that often you just see gaps like that. This morning, what I'm going to be focused on is how price responds to this 25,400 level. This is a previous breakout point. So we have a lot of resistance in this 25,400 area. Breakout triggers on Friday, October 24th. And so far, this is a retest of the breakout point. Now, if buyers defend here, we can expect a bounce. If not, price is going to be back into that previous, I think that was like a 5 or 6 week range that we were in. So 25,400, definitely a critical level. It's an important level for the backdrop as well. If that area fails, the backdrop is going to shift into neutral bearish. So as of right now, where we at? Price is right up against the prior day low, solid reference point to be keeping an eye on. This morning, I'll definitely be looking at that prior day low. Pretty much, I mean, if we open right here, pretty much right off the open, we want to see how that prior day low is going to be treated. And if that area fails, look at this action pre-market. So overnight, prior day low, resistance, resistance, resistance. And we break above not too long ago, about an hour ago. Now we're right back into this area. So if this area fails to hold, if we fail to see some acceptance above that prior day low up into the overnight high and through, again, like I said, I'll be looking at 23,400. I want to see if we could get a bounce versus the 23,400. Failure at 400, and I'll be watching this area down through here. Overnight low down into 250. And remember that 250 is going to be a level of interest, and then the gap fill spot as well. Right down into there. We've got good volume for a good portion of the overnight sesh. Good to see. So let's see what this morning gives us. Yesterday was a one and done session. Really nice session yesterday. Looks like volatility may be expanding a bit these past couple of days. So just a friendly reminder to keep an eye on the width of the structure, the height of the structure. If you set risk against market structure like I do, then when volatility expands, you're going to want to drop size. You're going to want to drop size because those stops, those risk points are going to be much wider. Doesn't mean you can't take the trade, but just drop size to account for that. And Q, there's the open. So pretty much a flat open, no gap. No gap at all. Back near prior day low. Session volume point of control for the extended hour session right through here. ES just churning near 6,800. It's your level of interest to keep an eye on. Gabe bought on the 5 minute, took a pre-market long. Yeah, I saw that APT. Very nice trade pre-market. Double M could go both ways. Okay. NQ 25,500. Let's see that 400. So I'm all hands off here until either 25,400 or action market structure above prior day low. Volume this morning's a little bit light, surprisingly, below average. There's a retest of your prior day low. Gabe, these are some long 1 minute candles. Yeah, the structure right now is wide. So I was saying before the bell, when volatility expands, you got to double check. Got to be looking. NQ coming for highs. Session high currently about, what is that, 580? 577? Opening 15-minute bar, closes in 4. Gabe, did you trail or still in there? Nice. Re-entered. Nice. Nice. Another rejection there near the highs, prior day low area. So that opening 15-minute range is now complete. NQ coming back into session highs here. ES has made a session high. NASDAQ new high of day coming into overnight high now. So that consolidation resolves higher. Let's see if we can find an entry. ES testing an overnight high. $25,600 area. Good volume coming in now. Very similar entry at that prior day high to what we saw, or excuse me, prior day low to what we saw yesterday. I did not grab a piece right there. If you read my trade write up from yesterday in the Traders Think Tank, though, same entry. Rich, you're in there? Nice. Very nice. Gabe, you flip long. Nice, man. Now focus on any retest of overnight high area. NQ not too far off the 700 level of interest now. Nice push. No position here. Hopefully, there's not a repeat of yesterday morning where post 10 a.m. the action just dies. Had a solid hour at least yesterday post 10 a.m. where it's consolidation nation. Three minutes till 10 a.m. Rich, 155 points, your largest points. Trade, nice, man. 155, that's big. That can be a week maker right there. Congrats. So we're into 10 a.m. NQ's bumping into 25,700 level of interest. We'll see the reaction here. See what sort of reaction we get. If there's going to be a pullback or not. Looks like we had some data hit right there. Tape is accelerating. $50 fib for the intraday move is down at overnight high. Price can get back down in there. Be an area to watch. Good volume here at 10 a.m. Otherwise, I'll be looking. So I'm looking at either this area down through here or potentially some action up and above 700 with some market structure entry there. Gabe, nice work. 3 points from target. That's close enough, man. That is close enough. You don't want to give back too much to capture an additional 3 points. No way. At that point, it's just time to cut it. Always got to think about that risk to reward of potential upside. If you're trailing, you're targeting another 3 points of upside and your trail's 20 points away. You're gonna give back 20 points for an extra 3 points? No way. That's not a good trade right there. That's why trailing's definitely a little bit of an art form, if you ask me. Gotta love 10 a.m. though. 10 a.m. reversal time with the level of interest. I mean, it's like clockwork. Just gotta love it. I know D-Wall's all over that somewhere. Shallow fib holding 25,650. Very similar action to what we saw yesterday. Very similar entry with that consolidation, and then the shallow fib post 10 a.m. holds. There's your shallow fib. For those unfamiliar, 23% fib. And Q new high of day up through 700. So NASDAQ kind of in an interesting spot here based on prior day structure and then the 25,700 level of interest. I like to see price clear this zone. Otherwise, like I said, I'll be looking for a little bit of a deeper retracement. They've got the level of interest, last week's low, prior day volume point of control, and then some structure through here as well. Good volume here. 6840, Mario. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, the 6843 is definitely key for ES. Sellers don't want to see that level broken, that's for sure. Bullish lower, yeah. Those shallow pullbacks are tough to trade, man. Those have always been super tough for me. I'd rather just pass on them. The one caveat to that would be pre 10 a.m. If we have a pretty strong pre 10 a.m. directional move, I can sometimes find myself in those shallower pullbacks, but post 10, uh, tough. Like a deeper retracement. Gabe says, I want the low hanging apple. I can pass on a trade and just go with a full size or on a high conviction trade. Doing less is doing more at the end of the day. Yeah, I 1000% agree with that. That pretty much sums up my entire style right there. 1 to 2 trades per day, high conviction. All right, Mario. We'll see you, man. Arc, why long only? I like to specialize. It actually started out just as an experiment, kind of as a joke, honestly, a couple of years ago, and my results improved. So I've just never looked back. Nothing wrong with shorting. Just I like to keep a very narrow focus. For me, it works better. But for some, if you don't have your higher time frame analysis really dialed in, it's going to be a problem because to hammer everything looks like a nail. So if you're constantly trying longs on a downtrending day, it's over. It is over. Double M, it will probably move slightly higher or lower than close. Okay. I'm not sure what you want me to do with that info. We'll either go up or down. Yes, sir, Gabe. Rich, you may as well sign off, man, after that 155 pointer. Go enjoy your day. Locked out and learning. Solid. I like it. Volume falling off a bit here. Might drop a gem to add to your subconscious. Nice. Love it. Eggy Belly still waiting. There was one good entry. I missed it. The long right through there. Same type of entry we nailed yesterday. But today missed it, unfortunately. unfortunately, for no particular reason other than I think I was a little distracted at that very second. Gave you back in the short. And Q right off the 38% fib there. Looking for a little more depth, like I said. Maybe a little more depth. If I have to take a no trade day, I don't mind it. Especially after yesterday's 75 pointer. NQ almost back into the highs. So 25,700 stays as a key area on watch this morning. It's last week's low. It's a pretty significant higher time frame level of interest. What we're talking about is where that gap up started from October 26th. So this morning we talked about wanting to see if support was going to hold. Support being the prior breakout point right near 25,400 tested overnight. That area holds. Question is, off the open, is it going to continue to hold? Or are we going to roll over and retest? We do not roll over and retest. We just show a little consolidation near prior day low. Price resolves higher. Back into 25,700 now. So if we see a break, if we see some action above 700, acceptance above 700, price can target this 900 area. This most recent lower high right to there. That is the idea. That's the game plan. Now, analysis and execution are two totally different things. So we nailed the analysis, but can you actually find an entry? Can you actually get in there in an area that makes sense with your playbook? And that's a totally different story. Totally different. How's everyone's morning so far? I know a few of you are up nicely. Andreas, no trade. I'm with you there. Rich, handwriting playbook last night helped today. I love that. That's awesome, man. Gabe, I know you're printing. Dean, 1 for 1, green. Nice work, Dean. Mike, plus 20 points, 2 micros, solid. Sweet. I love it. I love it. All right, NQ is coming into the highs. Let's see if a new high is going to be made. Joshua, no FOMO trade, so counting it as a win, that is a win, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. Raul took one trade up $198, 2 micros, solid. We take those. Nice work. NQ, very slight new high of day right there. So do we get acceptance above 700? That's the question right now. Andreas, same as Joshua, had some fun with yesterday and blew an evaluation, so taking it easy today. It's good. It's good to learn and reflect, make changes on the following trading day, try and build some new habits, try and rework some of those processes. Did you take any trades? Still cash. What bias are you right now? I really that question comes up a lot. Is that like some ICT thing? I really don't know what the root of that question is. My bias is looking for my setup. Unless you mean like long or short, in which case I've outlined the game plan a few times. In fact, just 5 minutes ago we went over it. My bias is making money, Gabe says. Exactly. Uh, yes, sir. Oh, that's good. Devin, how do you calculate lot size on Top Stepper Project X platform? It depends on what account size you're trading. So for me, if I'm trading a 50K account, the sweet spot that I have found based on the setups that I trade is going to be 8 micros maximum size on those 50K accounts, which might seem light, especially given the fact I think they let you trade up to like 5 contracts or something crazy on a 50K account. All of the prop firms will gladly let you over leverage. They will gladly let you do it. And then they put that cap there like, "Oh, trade up to 5 contracts." Like that's a smart thing to do or something. That's way too much size. Way too much size, especially with like a 2K drawdown on those 50K accounts. You got to keep the sizing light. Have to keep it light if you want any chance to survive. The name of the game with those things is survival, and the temptation to add size and just basically pass, right? If you're in an eval, you want to pass quickly to get to the funded. If you have experience and you've already taken some payouts, I definitely get that. But if you're still new, you're still developing, you've not really taken any payouts yet, over leveraging, oversizing is not going to get you anywhere. It's just gonna burn through your credit card, burn through cash, reloading those accounts. So you got to drop size on the 150K accounts. Typically, the max I would personally go is 3 minis. So 50K, 8 micros, 150K, 3 minis, and even that's kind of pushing it a little bit. But more often than not, developing traders they have way too much size on in those evals, in those prop accounts. I mean, you got to look at it like this. If you can't survive 2 or 3 losses in a row before blowing the account, you have too much size. Objectively speaking, you have too much size. Like 2 to 3 losses in a row statistically is not it's not going to be that uncommon, even with a fairly high hit rate system. So look at the math. Look at the math. When you're on an eval, do you up your risk? Personally, yes. Personally, yes. Just trying to get through it, but it's not something that I recommend. Kind of depends, like I said a minute ago, it kind of depends on where you're at in your journey. A better option for a lot of people is probably just going to be going to the straight to funded accounts. They are more expensive, but you save the time not having to mess with the eval. You can just trade more methodically, because I don't think it's as easy as, you trade aggressively in the eval and the next thing you know you're in the funded environment. Are you just going to flip a switch and not trade as aggressively? I mean, in our mind, we're like, yeah, I'll treat it differently. But if you're in the habit of trading aggressively and you're still, nothing has changed except for the little account name, right? It's not like the broker looks different or anything. It's not like your desk setup changes. So you're in the same environment. I think it's better to build winning and lasting habits in the eval stage, and then that carries over more naturally to the funded stage. But that's through the lens of, you know more methodical trading. I know a lot of these streamers, they basically cycle through these prop accounts and they're looking for home run hits. They're looking to basically just punt the accounts, take the payout, and they don't care how many evals they have to cycle through. They don't care how many times they fail the account or anything. They just keep racking up the credit card. You can definitely make I'm not saying these guys aren't making money. Some of them are definitely making some good money doing that, but it kind of it sets the wrong example for long-term consistently profitable trading. The prop space definitely can be gamed in that manner, but if you're expecting to take the skill set and then eventually trade like a personally funded, self-funded live account, it's not going to work, right? There's no reset button in a personally funded, self-funded account. So the way I look at it and the way I speak about trading is through the lens of self-funded accounts. It's a different ballgame. It's a totally different thing. Andres just did the math. If you take 5 NQs on a 2.5K drawdown account, one trade with 25-point stop, and you're out of the game. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's crazy. And most of those 50Ks are they're not even 2.5K. They're actually 2K. Gabe, make 10K on an XFA, then trade 3 minis. Otherwise, stick to 15 micros on a 4.5K drawdown or 3 micros on a 2K drawdown. Yeah, I love it. That's my personal formula. Yours may be different. See, I like that. I like that. Keeps you in the game. The name of the game is longevity. Number one prop firm for me, definitely going to be Take Profit Trader. I love the daily withdrawals. But number one prop firm for Project X would be Top Step. I mean, they're undefeated. They are undefeated as far as like just ease of payouts. They're solid. They're rock solid. Then you have, I mean, there's a bunch of good ones. Lucid is solid. Tradeify is great. Influencers make their Bitcoin off their views and sponsorship, not their trading. Blowing S2F accounts on a weekly basis is not a long-term edge. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And many of them will just churn through the accounts. Even with like Apex, like they'll go into the eval, it's one day to pass, load up 20. And some of them on Twitter, I see, they'll take like 4 or 5 attempts to pass the evals in one day. You're talking about 20 accounts being reloaded on each clip. To me, it's just insanity. I mean, I know some of them are taking huge payouts doing this, but to me, it's like crazy. Like I would much rather play the long game. But that's just me. I came from my background is trading a cash account, trading a personal account. So the prop space is is something else. Like more my approach is like playing the long game and then using a trade copier, still trade, relatively small, link up the trade copier, and now you have big leverage, but still with pretty minimal or lower risk of ruin. Yeah, we just have some consolidation here at 700. Thing is, we're not seeing a big rejection here, so we may break higher. NASDAQ new high of day. ES new high of day. Josh, at this point, I wanted the or Joshua, I don't know what you go by. I wanted the overnight high retrace, or at when price is reclaiming a level, I need a large enough extension and then a retrace into the level. So maybe a little bit of time, maybe like a late morning opportunity or just a no trade day if we continue to see just consolidation and chop around here. Typically, I don't really want to be involved with the shallow pullback, and I use the fib to kind of measure the pullback. So if we put the shallow right there at 700, that means price needs to at least trade 767. Better would be like the 38, and then we're up into like 827. So it really depends on how this structure continues to develop. What I wouldn't mind seeing is more sideways action through here. Price just trades sideways like this and then comes and looks beneath this recent low, right? Test the overnight high and grab a long right there. So kind of looks beneath this structure point, and then you'll probably have the 50% fib right in that area. Yeah, it's right there. So that'd be like one of the better scenarios for me at this point. Right here, it's just a waiting game. Price is at my level, but in order to get involved with a proper structure, I need even higher continuation, even higher prices, and then the retracement. A lot of times, the temptation when we're into a level like this is to, get involved on something like this, but I don't view that as a valid entry, really. This is just chop. So very well could be a no trade day. My best opportunity was right there here. I mean, it's the same exact entry that we saw yesterday. If we go back to yesterday's action, right there at the level of interest. Look above, back below, set up the structure right there, and you can enter right above the level. Somehow I missed that. I think I was a little distracted. I was rearranging some windows on my screen here. But yeah, I like that trade. Scale some into session highs and then just try and ride. Missed it. That's why focus is so important. Got to be focused. All right, Gabe. Nice work today. Take care, man. This ES entry looks really good. Yeah, ES, man. ES has just all year it's been showing really, really solid action here. Overnight high right there, 50% fib. It's clean. Volume is really starting to taper off, so it might be time to call it. About 9 minutes till 11. See if we get a little uptick in action near 11. Look at that 5 minute showing some exhaustion here. 5 and 15. RTY still holding on to support. Sideways range here. Multi-week. See what GC is up to. GC, smaller sideways range. Five-minute chart on NQ looks like a struggle. 3 dojis back to back. Yeah, a little bit of exhaustion there. Keep an eye on the 15 and 30 as well, closing up in 3 minutes. I'll bring us right into 11 a.m. All right, consolidation here right at 700 as we get into 11. Let's see our profile for RTH is probably up in this area. Yeah, you have a high volume node. It's built out here. Oh, RTH is actually lower. That's interesting. Now we talked about this area earlier. Prior day structure. A little bit of a struggle. Probably give this session 2 more minutes or so. And we call it. Slow sesh on my end. We had one potential opportunity with the market structure entry right through here at prior day low. Same entry type that we saw yesterday. I did a full write up on that trade from yesterday in the Traders Think Tank with the breakdown of the idea and trade executions as well. It's the exact same entry right there. Phenomenal continuation. So because I missed that, then the next idea above overnight high becomes for some sort of retrace into overnight high, ideally before 10 a.m. We don't end up seeing that outside of just this micro structure, like just a tiny structure right through there. It's possible, but very aggressive entry. And then this right through here, I wanted a little bit more depth into overnight high. We don't get it, so it is what it is. We'll take the no trade morning. I'll keep it going here until about noon or so, another hour till I break for lunch. I think we'll call it on the stream. We'll keep it going in the Traders Think Tank. Thank you guys for your time this morning. We'll be live tomorrow. We also have the coaching session in the Traders Think Tank tomorrow as well. Hope you guys had a good morning, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care.